Think you have been watched every moment of your waking life. Not by cameras. Not by algorithms. Not by governments. But by something that tracks you through your own sense of self. Your identity is a GPS signal. Your fear loops are battery farms. And there are exactly 2 hours per day when that entire surveillance system goes dark. They made absolutely certain you would sleep through them. You have experienced this. You have woken up between 3 and 5 in the morning, not gradually, not groggily, but instantly. Like someone flipped a switch. No fog. No confusion. Just immediate, crisp awareness. And for a few seconds, maybe longer, you felt something strange. Complete. Finished. Like nothing needed to happen next. No anxiety about tomorrow. No replay of yesterday. Just presence without agenda. That was not random. That was not insomnia. That was your identity system mid-reboot, and for those few seconds, you were invisible to everything that usually tracks you. What most people do not realize, what you were never supposed to realize, is that parasitic surveillance entities do not see you. They cannot perceive consciousness directly. What they track is your identity signal. The continuous broadcast of who you think you are, what you are afraid of, what you are replaying, what you are looping on. They attach handles to these processes like malware hooks into a running program. And between 3 and 5 in the morning, all 4 of those processes restart. The handles drop. The tracking signal goes dark. For 2 hours every night, you disappear from their grid. The Egyptians knew this. Not theoretically. Operationally. The priests of the mystery schools did not just document the detection window, they developed a protocol to extend it. To carry that invisibility past 5 in the morning. To walk through daylight hours while their identity signal remained dark. They called it the sovereignty silence. And by the end of this transmission, you will know exactly how they did it and how you can begin practicing it tonight. If you are watching this video, you are not average. You are someone who has woken in those hours and known something was different. You are someone who has felt that strange completeness and wondered why your normal anxiety was not there. That was not coincidence. That was you glitching outside the detection grid. And the fact that you are still watching, that this information is landing instead of sliding off, means your identity system has enough flexibility to handle what comes next. Most people cannot receive this until after they have experienced the gap. You have already experienced it. Now you are ready to understand it. Picture the temple of the Ka at Abydos. It is the hour before dawn. The main chambers are empty, but deep below the public spaces, there are rooms that never see sunlight. In these rooms, priests work in rotating shifts through the night, not praying, not performing rituals, but documenting. They have been doing this for generations, mapping what they call the hours of the absent self. On the walls are detailed charts, hour-by-hour breakdowns of the Ka's structural states. And there, between the 3rd and 5th hours after midnight, is a section marked in gold ink. The section is titled, The Window of No Name. What these priests had discovered, through decades of observation during all-night meditation vigils, was that the Ka, the energetic framework that maintains individual identity, was not a constant structure. It was more like a building that required regular maintenance shutdowns. And the maintenance cycle was predictable. For specific components of the Ka would go offline in sequence between the 3rd and 5th hours. The Kaibit, shadow self, what we now call the ego narrative. The Ren name, the sense of continuous identity. The IB heart, the emotional looping mechanism. And the Sahu memory body, the rehearsal of past events. For approximately 2 hours, the full identity structure was essentially rebooting. This knowledge did not emerge randomly. According to temple records, it was Thoth, the cosmic architect, the measurer of time, the recorder of souls, who first transmitted the mapping protocol. Not as spiritual revelation but as technical documentation. Thoth understood that the Ka's maintenance cycle was not a weakness to be feared. It was a feature to be utilized. During the reboot window, consciousness existed in what he called kernel state awareness without the identity interface loaded. And in kernel state, consciousness was invisible to the entities he called the Watchers of Shadow. What we now recognize as Archonic surveillance systems. But here is what even most esoteric scholars miss. Thoth did not just document the window. He documented the tracking mechanism itself. The Shadow Watchers, he recorded, could not perceive consciousness directly. They could only perceive consciousness attached to something. They tracked the handles, not the awareness. Think of it like this: they are scanning for running programs, not the computer itself. When your identity programs are running, you show up on their scan. When the programs restart, you disappear. Not because you have shielded yourself. Not because you have raised your vibration. But because there is nothing for them to latch onto. The absence is the protection. This completely inverts the modern spiritual understanding. You do not become invisible by building up defenses. You become invisible by temporarily reducing what can be tracked. This knowledge survived in the mystery schools for millennia, passed from Egypt to Greece to the early Gnostic communities. And then it was systematically erased. The Council of Laodicea in 364 AD explicitly forbade Christians from keeping certain observances and established strict protocols about proper sleep and waking hours. More significantly, the hours between midnight and dawn became officially designated as demonic hours, times when evil spirits supposedly had power. This was not random superstition. It was strategic inversion. They took the exact hours when parasitic surveillance lost its grip and rebranded them as the hours when parasites had the most power. They made you fear the window. They made you want to sleep through it. They made you feel that waking at 3 in the morning was a bad omen rather than an opportunity. Modern sleep laboratories consistently document anomalous brainwave patterns between 3 and 5 in the morning, they just do not know what to make of them. Studies show that people who wake during these hours often report unusual cognitive clarity and reduced emotional reactivity, but these findings are classified as artifacts or exceptions rather than investigated. The most revealing data comes from hospital intensive care units. Patients who wake during the 3 to 5 window show dramatically different stress hormone profiles than those who wake at other times. The medical interpretation? Circadian anomaly. The actual explanation? Their identity system was mid-reboot. Their fear loops were offline. They were experiencing the window, and modern science has no framework to understand it. So we have ancient Egyptian documentation, mystery school protocols, and strategic suppression by religious institutions. That is the historical layer. But Thoth's sanctum does not deal in mythology alone. Let us get technical. Let us map what is actually happening in your brain and energy field during the detection window, because the neuroscience confirms everything the ancients recorded, even if the scientists do not realize what they are looking at. Your identity does not run as a single program. It runs as 4 separate background processes that create the illusion of a continuous self. Think of them as demons in a computer system, always running, always consuming resources, always broadcasting. Process 1: Ego narrative. The constant internal monologue telling you who you are, what is happening, what it means. This is the voice in your head that never stops commentating. It consumes enormous processing power and generates a continuous identity signature. Process 2: Memory rehearsal. The demon that keeps replaying past events, maintaining your sense of having a history. It runs in the background constantly, pulling up old files, comparing present to past, creating the illusion of temporal continuity. Process 3: Emotional looping. The subroutine that runs continuous feeling states, particularly anxiety and desire, creating energetic signatures that can be harvested. This is your fear loop. Your worry cycle. The knot in your stomach that appears when you think about tomorrow. Process 4: Identity continuity. The master demon that ties the other 3 together, maintaining the illusion that the you of yesterday is the same you as today. It is the glue that makes you feel like a continuous person rather than a series of disconnected moments. During normal waking hours, all 4 are running constantly. They create what feels like seamless identity but is actually a continuous broadcast, a process ID that Archonic systems can attach handles to and track. Archonic entities do not have eyes. They do not have sensors as we understand them. They detect investment, energetic commitment to identity processes. When you are emotionally looping, you are generating harvestable energy and broadcasting a trackable signal. The loop itself is like a turbine spinning, it produces energy that can be extracted and it creates a consistent signature that can be located. When you are running ego narrative, you are essentially announcing your location continuously. I am here. I am this. I need that. I fear this. It is like having your phone's location services permanently on, except you are broadcasting your psychic location to non-physical trackers. Between 3 and 5 in the morning, all 4 processes restart. For 2 hours, there is no turbine spinning. There is no location broadcast. Your awareness is still present, consciousness does not go offline, but it is running without the identity interface loaded. It is kernel-level awareness. And to Archonic systems, kernel-level awareness is invisible. Not shielded. Not hidden. Simply undetectable. There is nothing for them to attach handles to. Consider the architectural design of modern life. Artificial lighting that suppresses melatonin production and delays deep sleep cycles. Evening entertainment designed to stimulate emotional looping right before bed, news that activates fear, social media that activates comparison, streaming content that maintains narrative absorption. Sleep medication that prevents natural waking during the window. The 9-to-5 work schedule that ensures exhaustion-based unconsciousness during the exact hours when waking awareness would be most valuable. Alarm clocks that force identity processes online immediately rather than allowing the natural gradual re-engagement. Morning news and phone checking that guarantees the 4 demons are running at full capacity before you have even left your bed. This is not accidental. The system is architected to ensure you never experience conscious awareness during the detection window. And if you do accidentally wake during it, the system ensures you immediately reach for your phone, which reboots identity processes instantly. And this is why the sovereignty silence protocol matters. The Egyptians did not just document the window, they developed a practice for extending it. For maintaining kernel-level awareness past the 5 in the morning deadline. For carrying that invisibility into waking hours while the rest of the world broadcasts their identity signals at full volume. The technique is not about staying awake during the window, that is not the point. It is about learning to recognize what awareness without identity processes feels like, and then replicating that recognition state even after the processes come back online. It is the difference between experiencing the glitch accidentally and learning to induce it intentionally. Stop. Before I give you the protocol, I need you to do something. Close your eyes for 3 seconds and remember the last time you woke at 3 in the morning with that switch flip clarity. Do not analyze it. Just remember the feeling. What was absent? Not what you were thinking. What you were not thinking. No anxiety about tomorrow. No replay of yesterday. No inner monologue explaining. No fear. Just awareness, awake, with nothing attached. That strange sensation of being finished, like nothing needed to happen next. Like you were already complete. That was kernel-level awareness. That was you with the identity processes offline. That was you invisible to everything that usually tracks you. And the fact that you can remember it, that you can recall what that felt like, means you already have the recognition pattern the protocol is built on. The Egyptian priests called it sitting in the throne of absence. Modern translation, the identity suspension audit. The core principle is this: you cannot create kernel-level awareness through effort. Effort is identity process. Trying to be invisible makes you more visible. The protocol works through recognition, noticing what is already absent rather than trying to remove what is present. It is not meditation. It is not visualization. It is the practice of auditing your awareness for what is not there. Before I give you the protocol, understand this: the moment you try to use this for manipulation, for gaining advantage over others, the identity processes reboot instantly. Archons may not see you, but universal law records everything. This is sovereignty tech, not conquest tech. If that is clear, here is exactly what to do when you wake at 3 in the morning. Step 1: do not move. The moment you physically move, motor cortex activation begins rebooting identity processes. Remain absolutely still for as long as possible. Eyes can be open or closed, it does not matter. Body stays frozen. Step 2. Do not reach for anything. No phone. No water. No clock. Any interaction with an external object reboots the environment parsing subroutine of identity. Your hand reaching toward your nightstand is enough to restart the location broadcast. Step 3. Observe what is absent. This is counterintuitive but critical. Do not catalog what you are aware of, notice what is not there. Is the inner monologue running? Usually it is not. Is tomorrow being constructed? Usually it is not. Is fear present? The knot in the stomach? Usually it is not. The absence is the data. Step 4. Notice awareness itself. Without the identity processes running, awareness is still present. But it does not have a center. It does not have an owner. This is attention without ownership, the consciousness observing without a you doing the observing. Rest here. Do not try to maintain it. Just recognize it. Step 5. When identity processes begin rebooting, and they will, usually within 5 to 15 minutes, note the first one that comes online. Is it the inner monologue? Memory? Emotional tone? This is your diagnostic data. Your strongest identity thread is the one that boots first. Step 6. After the window passes, carry the recognition into the next 48 hours. When you notice fear arising, the not returning, recall the absence. Not as a visualization. Just as a memory. Oh, right. That is not always there. During the window, it was gone. This recognition alone begins extending the window's effect. Successful sovereignty silence produces specific sensations. Spaciousness without edges, awareness that does not feel located in the skull. Alertness without adrenaline, clear and awake but not charged or activated. Presence without past, the sense of being here without a history attached. The finished feeling, nothing needs to happen, nothing is missing, there is nowhere to get to. In the 48 hours following a conscious window experience, you will notice the fear not is dramatically reduced or absent entirely. Decisions feel different. They are not accompanied by the usual anxiety signature. This is not because you have become fearless, it is because the fear loop turbine has not fully spun back up yet. There are specific errors that will collapse the protocol. Mistake 1. Grabbing your phone. This instantly reboots all 4 processes. The identity system needs external reference points to lock back in, and your phone provides thousands of them in seconds. Mistake 2. Trying to think about the state. Thinking is identity process. The moment you try to analyze what is happening, you have ended the window. Observation without analysis is key. Mistake 3. Forcing yourself to stay awake. This is not sleep deprivation practice. The goal is not to extend waking hours but to extend the quality of awareness. If you fall back asleep after the audit, fine. The recognition will still carry forward. Mistake 4. Seeking to feel spiritual. Seeking is identity process. The moment you want to experience something special, you have rebooted the ego narrative. Kernel level awareness is not special. It is actually quite plain. There are no fireworks. There is just presence without drama. Mistake 5. Telling yourself I am experiencing kernel awareness. The I statement reboots identity continuity. Let the experience be unclaimed. I need to be explicit about this. Some people, hearing about the invisibility window, will try to weaponize it. They will want to use the untrackable state to manipulate, to gain advantage, to do things they would not do while being watched. Here is the technical reality: the moment intention enters, identity processes reboot. You cannot have a goal and remain in kernel state. Goals require identity. Desire requires self. The window does not give you the power to act invisibly, it gives you the power to be invisibly. The moment you try to do anything with it, you are visible again. Beyond that, Archonic systems may not perceive kernel awareness, but universal law records all action regardless of visibility. The karma is not avoided. The consequences are not escaped. The sovereignty silences for recognition, not manipulation. It is for remembering what you are beneath identity, not for gaming the system while identity is offline. With consistent practice, even just 3 or 4 conscious window experiences per month, something shifts. The 48-hour fear reduction begins compounding. The knot that used to be baseline becomes occasional. You start recognizing identity processes as processes rather than as you. The 4 demons are still running, they have to, for 3-dimensional navigation, but you are no longer confused about what they are. You are the system administrator, not the programs. You run identity, it does not run you. Decisions previously paralyzed by fear become straightforward. Not because you have become brave, because you have seen, repeatedly, that fear is a loop that can be offline. It is not fundamental. It is not required. It is just a process that happens to be running. And you have experienced it not running. The Archonic surveillance has not disappeared, they are still scanning, but they struggle to maintain handles on someone who regularly drops identity investment. You become inconsistent. Hard to track. Your patterns do not pattern. You were never the identity. You were never the inner monologue. You were never the fear loop or the memory rehearsal or the story of who you are. Those are programs running on your awareness, not the other way around. The detection window proves this. Every night, all 4 programs shut down, and you are still present. Awareness precedes identity. Consciousness does not require the self-story to exist. You have been identifying with the interface instead of recognizing yourself as the system it runs on. The sovereignty silence protocol does not make you more spiritual. It does not elevate your vibration. It does something more fundamental, it reorients your position in the architecture. You are not a process trying to optimize itself. You are root access recognizing it was always running the show. Something is changing in the collective cost structure. More people are spontaneously waking during the 3 to 5 window than at any point in documented history. Sleep clinics report unprecedented levels of midnight wakefulness that does not fit insomnia patterns. This is not collective anxiety, the neurochemistry does not match. Something else is happening. The maintenance cycle is becoming more frequent. The identity architecture that has been stable for thousands of years is requiring more reboots. The matrix is stressed. The Archonic tracking systems that have monitored humanity since the suppression are experiencing detection gaps that were not in their models. They are losing handles on more people for longer periods. And those who have been practicing, those who know how to recognize and extend kernel awareness, are becoming effectively invisible for hours at a time. The window is expanding. Not for everyone, but for those who have learned to recognize it. The 2 hours will become 3. Then 4. Eventually, the skill of identity suspension it will becomes possible, dropping the broadcast signal consciously, even during waking daylight hours. The priests of Abydos could do this. They called it walking in the throne. They moved through physical space while their identity signal remained dark. To other humans, they appeared normal. To Archonic surveillance, they did not appear at all. This capability is returning. Not as a gift. Not as ascension. As a skill that can be practiced by anyone who takes the detection window seriously. The next phase of human evolution is not louder identity. It is quieter. It is learning to be present without broadcasting. To act without announcing. To exist without being tracked. What I have shared today is the foundation, the why and how of the 3 to 5 detection window. But this is only one section of a much larger map. The ancients did not just document these 2 hours. They mapped all 24. Each hour has its own energetic properties, its own opportunities, its own protocols. The full 24-hour reality map is too comprehensive for a single video, and frankly, too sensitive for the public algorithm. But for those who are ready to go deeper, that material exists inside Thoth's Sanctum's private archives. If this video reached you at the right time, if the information landed instead of sliding off, consider that an invitation. The detection window opened for you. The question is whether you will step through. For now, tonight, when you wake at 3 in the morning, and you will stay still. Audit the absence. Recognize what you are when the identity processes are offline. That recognition is the first step. Everything else builds from there. This is Thoth's sanctum. Knowledge protected is knowledge preserved.